Now I want you to recall the very first lesson we did, right? I showed you this. We drew up a set of axes. You don't need to draw this. Okay. And then I said, we talked about, I think we talked about mandarins. Who said mandarins? Yeah, okay. And then we said like $2 a kilo. And then we plotted some points. And then we drew this. Okay, something like that. Right? Now what we drew was this. If you call this Y and this X, which is what they usually are, okay? What we did was we took a rule. We took this equation, right? And then we plotted some points, we joined them together, and that was the line that we got, right? That was the graph, okay? So in other words, we went from a rule to a graph. A rule to a graph, okay? Today, we're going to go the opposite direction, right? We're going to find the rule of a graph, we're going to have a graph, and then go to the rule. Okay, so we're going in the reverse direction, all right? So you got page 245 there, and I need to gesture toward it. You don't have to draw it because you've got it in front of you, but I'm going to draw the graph for 1A. Okay, so you can cast your eyes onto that now.
Oh, so I just drew that graph for no reason.
If you drew it, that's great, but you don't need to is what I'm saying. Okay, now, shh. Let's revise a little bit. Last time, I wasn't here, but you covered two important features about a graph, right? Two important features. One had to do with like how slopey, what slant it had, and the other one was about where it hit one of the axes. Do you remember what they were? What were the two pieces of information? Gradient, good. So.
And Y-intercept.
Thank you. So gradient was about the slope. Okay. In fact, gradient, another word for it is slope. Okay. Now we'll talk about how to work it out in a second. We will get there. Okay. The other thing was the Y-intercept. Now on this diagram, where is the Y-intercept? It's where, in this case, it's where the blue line, right? It meets the Y-axis, which is the vertical, right? So in other words, it's actually there, right there.
As well.
Okay, in this case, yes, it's positive because it's above zero, above zero. Okay, good. So what we're going to do is, we want to work out what the Y-intercept is, what the gradient is, and then we can write down the rule or the equation of the graph. Okay? So, first, we'll do the Y-intercept because it's really easy. It's quite simple. You've actually got a scale on yours. Can you tell me, what is that value?
-1.
Hold on. It's with the vertical. It's 1. There's a -1 here.
Oh, apologies.
That's okay. That's a useful thing as well, though. It's not the Y-intercept. It's the... What would you call it? See how this is the intercept, like it's where they meet, of the Y-axis, so it's the Y-intercept. Well, that -1 is where it meets the X-axis, right? So what would you call that then? You call it the X-intercept, right? So I might actually just put that in. So let me just repeat that. You told me the Y-intercept there. Okay, where it hits the Y-axis. Well, down here you've got the X-intercept, which is where it hits the X-axis. Okay? Right, so like you said, the Y-intercept is just equal to 1. Okay? Now, by the way, you learned that there was a particular letter that usually gets associated with the Y-intercept. What was it? It was B. Very good. There you go. So I'm going to say B equals 1. Right? Now I want to find the gradient. The gradient's a bit trickier, but it's still not that hard to find. What was the letter that we associated with the gradient?
M.
M. Very good. So we're going to get M equals something. Okay? Now, how do I work it out off of here? There's two different ways, okay? Do you want to suggest one? Yeah, the gradient. How do I work it out? Good. So, I'm going to keep going down here. Gradient, M, right, equals rise over run. Now, this is a really important idea. I'm going to show you two ways to work it out, okay? One way which is a bit quicker, but doesn't work all the time. And then a way which is a bit longer, but no matter what graph you get, it'll always work, okay? So here's the easy way to do it. So maybe we can say, you know, easy method. Okay. The easy method is you want a triangle on here which has rise and run on it. You can draw a whole bunch of different ones, okay? But for me, it looks like, and actually this is where it would be useful to have a diagram of some kind, right? I can see a triangle in here. Look at this one. Can you see that triangle?
Yes.
Right? And the important thing about it is it's right angled, okay? So you've got this part, the vertical part, which is the rise, okay? And then you've got this horizontal part, which is the run, right? How far does it go up? How far does it go across, okay? Now, in this case,
We haven't labelled it numbers. How do we know?
well, you've got the axes. The axes give you numbers, right? So we're going to use those numbers, right? Since you told me the y-intercept is 1, okay, that means the rise is 1. So it's gone up 1 in that triangle there, okay? How far has it gone to the right? How far has it run? Now be careful, be careful. This number here, the x-intercept, is -1. But I'm going this way. I'm going to the right, okay? So that is just 1. Okay? The rise, in this case, is 1. And the run is also 1. Okay? Yep.
Why is it 1 instead of -1?
Yeah, okay. I'm always thinking about going forward in time, if you like. Okay? So I'm always going this way. Always going this way. Now, let's just quickly have a look at this. Rise is 1. Run is 1. So rise over run is 1 over 1. Which is just 1, right? Okay, now, here's the thing, right? You know how I said we draw a triangle? That's the easy method. Draw a triangle. You can actually draw a whole bunch of different triangles. For instance, I'm going to draw a bigger one, okay? I'm going to draw it like this, and you can see where it is on your diagram. I'm going to draw it like this. I'll just get this out of the way for a second. Okay, now here's the important thing about this, right? If it's a straight line, you can draw the triangle wherever you want and however big or small you want, and you still get the same result, okay? Now let's suppose, if you look at your graph, and you get something like, I'm just going to pick one of them. If this is 4, then this would be 5. Okay, have a look at that for me. Okay? Now, I still want to work out the same things, rise and run, okay? Let's look at this part. The run is easier.
So doesn't it just run to 2, or did you just do that?
I'm going, your diagram goes like all the way up to 5 actually. So have a look, can you see the axes?
Wait, are we doing 1B?
This is still 1A, still 1A.
Oh, wow.
I'm still on the same one.
Yeah. I'm so sorry.
It's alright, it's alright. So you can see I go from 0 to 4. So what's the run? It's just 4, excellent. Run equals 4. Okay, what's the rise? Now, it's 4 again. Yeah, very good. It starts at 1 and then it goes up to 5. And the difference, that's the rise, the difference is 4. Okay, now you can see if I did rise over run again, it'd be 4 over 4, which is still 1. Same line, same gradient. Okay? So, are you happy with that? Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, now before I get to the trickier method, let me just show you what you do with these. You've got M and you've got B, right? We're going to put them together to make the rule. Okay? Okay, so, no, how are we going to put these together? Do you remember this? I'll put it in a different color. Do you remember looking at this? Y equals mx plus b. Do you remember that? Did you see it?
Yeah.
Yeah, no? No? Okay, all right, well, let me show it to you now. This is where the two numbers go, right? You've worked out m and you've worked out b, okay? The rule or the equation of our line is going to look like this. So all you have to do is take your two numbers and put them in, okay? So for instance, m's equal to 1, so this will just be how many x's? Just 1. And b will be 1. Dunskies. That's it. That's all there is to it. Okay? So that is where, that's the rule that gives you this line. And you can check any other value on there, right? Find an x value, stick it in, right? For instance, put in x equals -1. And that puts you over here. Y is equal to -1 plus 1, which is 0. Okay? So there you go. That's the answer. Okay?